Have you ever felt like you're building a creative life, but it just doesn't fit? Well, I'm going to share 13 beautiful lessons that I have learned over the last decade of creating a more intentional life through failing and growing and pivoting and readjusting. I have slowly shaped a life that feels like home. So, the very first thing is start before you're ready. I know everybody preaches that. Guess what? You're never going to be ready. I always try to start something, and what ends up happening is I create this huge laundry list of things that I need to do before I get there. You know what? Your potential doesn't want to wait. Your potential doesn't want to check off this laundry list. It wants you to go and do it. Action breeds clarity. Next is discipline is freedom. What do I mean by this? It means that you honor yourself and you make that time. Even if it's only 5 minutes every single day, you create this beautiful habit where you honor your time, you honor your creative life. And that is so much more important. I used to think of doing these art challenges as a way to motivate me and force myself into doing art and creating. Now, there is a time and a place when you don't feel like it. It's the same as going to the gym. You don't want to put on the running shoes and go outside. You don't want to set up your art stuff and try to think of something that you're going to create. By showing up, it just sends that message out into the universe, out into the creative energy to yourself that you are worth it. You are worth this creative life. You're worth creating something beautiful. Next is talent is overrated. Curiosity isn't. Being curious has been the saving grace of a lot of the things that I have done. Now, I know that I don't always follow through with every single idea that I have, but it's about being curious, about wanting to try. If I want to make paintbrushes out of nature art and sticks, I can do that because there's a curiosity, there's a playfulness to it. If I want to create a workshop with 10 different modalities, I can lean into that. I know that might be too much, but you'll never know until you hit that little bit of a threshold. So be curious. Not everything needs to be for sale. Now, the reason I say this, sometimes there's just art that exists. It's just here to hold a place to show to yourself that you are worth it. It was just part of a process, and we were not tied to the outcome. We were tied to the journey within. We were looking within. And I find that a lot of times when I put a dollar value on my art, it turns out that I am more attached to the outcome and how much money that I can get. And then it takes away from the art sometimes. Now, I know there's artists out there that are making good money and they are selling their talents, and that is amazing. But I want to share out there that create art for you, not for the dollar value, because that's when you will get the reciprocation and the abundance coming in. Is just a reclarification. This sounds like a really odd way of thinking about it, but I read Big Magic, and Big Magic shares this whole like you got to keep putting it out there, keep putting it out there. Just because you have a story that didn't get, accepted this time, you got a rejection letter, you try again and you try again and you try again, because that story only needs to speak to one person who's going to say yes to you. So don't ever think of rejection as a hard no. Rejection is just a continue to pivot. Work like somebody's watching you, but post like nobody is. So when I first started the YouTube channel, something for me was the first 10 are for me. I am not going to expect anybody to look at it. I'm brand new. My videos, I think they're still kind of cringy. They're not great. I'm getting better and better every single time that I practice visual arts in this creative media. And this is where I find I get to explore and I get to have fun. We have to detach from the outcome. We are not the algorithm. You are a channel for art. So be consistent, be intentional. Next is you can't skip the ugly parts. This is when those paintings just don't work out and the poem doesn't sound right. That song doesn't have the same resonance that you were hoping for. And I think there's a lot of times when we're like, I really want this to be perfect. And then you step back and you're like, this is not so good. But that's also okay because the messy parts lead us to the good parts. And we have to remember it's going to rain. And after the rain, the sun comes. But after the sun comes, the storm comes. And it's a bit of a cycle. It's an ebb and flow. And there's nothing wrong with that. So lean into that messiness. Remember, it's just a piece of paper. It's just a song or it's just a story. And we don't have to have it crush our spirits and that we're able to still move past that. Number 8 is probably one of my favorites, is your identity is flexible. One day you can be a painter. One day you can be a YouTube star. One day you can be a poet, a storyteller. You can do spoken word. You can expressively dance and do interpretive movement. It doesn't matter. You can be whatever you want. It's your creative life. You set the rules. You set the bar however you want. And it can waver and it can be like a silly straw and just have fun with it. 9 is important. Rest is productive. I think that a lot of us, we work really hard, and I really honor that piece about pushing through, finishing a piece, showing up, and doing all of that. But for myself, resting when I get really frustrated is probably one of the best things that I can do for myself. And not only that, resting after as well to integrate and not overthink something and just walk away. It's almost like what that suggestion, like post it and ghost it and not even look back. Burnout doesn't prove anything, and restoration is everything. I like this one. Embarrassment is evidence of evolution. If you cringe at your old work, that's a good thing. If you cringe at your old videos, your old poems, your old songs, your old pieces of art, that's a good thing. It shows that you've grown. It shows that you've leveled up. And I absolutely love celebrating those moments because there's a lot of times I forget where I came from. And I am only comparing myself to other people out there. And what I'm supposed to be doing for myself is only getting a little bit better than who I was yesterday. That's the benchmark. It's not who I wish to be. Inspiration attracts motion. Now, I don't sit around waiting for inspiration to come and find me. I have to act. And when I'm acting in that sense, when I am in motion, creating, writing, talking, sharing, recording, whatever it is, dancing, that's when the inspiration comes to me. That's when I magnetize those inspired ideas. And I find them so much better than when I'm trying to just sit there and stew and force myself into coming up with a creative idea. Manifestation is not magic. It's actually maintenance. And what I mean is we plant those inspired ideas and we have to water it. We have to tend to it. We have to love it. We have to give it time and space and energy. You know, I think of art sometimes as a seed, and this seed needs tender love and care. And it needs deliberate action and intentional love for it to grow and to flourish. Last one, the creative life and the art is you. It's not outside of yourself. It comes from within you. Not to sound too esoteric, but it channels through you. You are the vessel. You're the important being. So care for yourself and your art will flow. And be aware of your blocks and work around them. Hack them. Whatever you need. I'm always here to help you. So I hope that these 13 little lessons have helped you. Let me know which one works for you, or if you have any of your own, leave them in the comments. See you in the next video.